Good evening, Gills fans. Welcome back to another episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It's Sunday night, which of course means match day review show time. And I'm looking back on a fourth consecutive draw for Gareth Ainsworth's men, which makes us 5 unbeaten in the league now since he returned to the gantry and now the dugout. But yes, after last week's goal fest in Shrewsbury, this was the complete opposite. Dogged, gritty, 0-0. At fellow playoff hopefuls Colchester. Yeah, it was a good game between two sides that were on the fringes of the playoff places at kick-off. Don't forget, we're the only side playing at the weekend. Game was moved from this coming Tuesday to Saturday because we're both out of the FA Cup, which meant no travelling during the week. And yeah, the point took the Gills back into those playoff places. They now sit 6th in the table. Yeah, it was a decent game. Both sides had their moments, but didn't really do enough. So yeah, draw, once again, felt about right. 3 changes in this one for the Gills and a change of shape. Travis Akamir came in for a first league start. Marnie Little was back in the 11 as well, and Aaron Rowe got a recall. Those players dropping out were Sam Vokes, Johnny Williams and Max Clark. So it was a 3-4-1-2 system with Jake Turner in goal. The already mentioned Akamir, Robbie McKenzie and Sam Gale as a back 3. It was then Ramo Hutton, Ethan Coleman, Captain Little and Aaron Rowe as a 4 in front in a wing-back system. It was then Bradley Dack supporting front 2 of Gareth McCleary and Seb Palmer-Holden. We did have a few missing. There was no Vokes, like I've already mentioned. There was no Josh Andrews, no Nelson Kambeni. So the bench was Tate Holton as backup goalkeeper. Defensive options were Max Clark, Shad Ogie and Logan Dobbs. We still had... we had no Lenny Sereno as well. He's picked up a knock. Midfield options were Williams and Louis Dayal. And our lone striker on the bench was last week's point rescuer, Elliot Nevitt. Colchester as the home side and a team that had won their last 3 in League Two and I think 5 of their last 7 came out the blocks really quickly, backed by a home support. Yeah, and they tried to push us back, which is understandable. They want to get on the front foot. They want to put us under pressure. But what we were really good at doing was making sure that when that early pressure came, we were facing away from our goal. We were defending with the game in front of us. We weren't being turned round and having to face our own goal. And yeah, I thought we were fairly comfortable in the early stages.
Jockey. Push it away. Well done. Left footer. Right footer. No Hutton over this side.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we did well to weather that storm, if you want to call it that, early on. And then we started to gain a foothold and we started to assert ourselves in an attacking sense. And we played the game in their half. We got in and around their penalty area more, didn't we? And what we did well when they did break on us was we make sure that we snuffed out their front players. Because I spoke in the preview with Ryan, the Colchester fan, about their forward players and their attacking threats. And whether they were the most exciting forward line in League Two currently with Mika and Bick and Kyrie's Lisby, Samson Tavide, Harry Anderson, Jack Payne to come back in. But yeah, I thought we snuffed them out fairly well, defended our box, whether that was defenders clearing, putting their bodies on the line or Jake Turner being commanding.
Shirt helping as well.
Colchester's best chance in the first half fell to Kyrie's Lisbon. It was a great move down the left-hand side. I think it was Samson Davido with the back heel. Unfortunately, I didn't catch it on camera. I was having a mouthful of tea, so I do apologise for missing that. Yeah, but Samson Davido, like I say, really good back heel. Released Mika and Bick down the left-hand side, and he cut it back to Lisbon. He was middle of the 6-yard box. He's just got to spin and get his shot off, and you think he's going to score. But it's brilliant covering from Aaron Rowe, who I thought was decent on the afternoon, to get in and block, and the ball spun away for a corner. Yeah, like I say, that was their best opportunity. And then at the other end, there was a chance for us, wasn't there? Ramo Hutton, I think it was, or Gareth McCleary, really good delivery into the box. Daki challenges at the far post, sort of hits him on the back of the head, breaks for Aaron Rowe, who arrives, tries to bend one, side-footed into the far corner, but fair play to the Colu captain and our former centre-back. Damn you as well. Jack Tucker, who had a really good game, to be fair, got back and cleared it off the line. Robbie McKenzie then nodded one wide from the set piece. Matt Macy then had to make a good reactive save from Daki. Ball dropped to him in the box. Left-footed volley, I think, took a deflection off Seb Palmer-Holden. Nearly wrong-footed Macy, but he managed to get a big pour down on it. But yeah, it was a game that was ebbing and flowing, and was maybe just lacking a little bit of quality at that key moment in the final third.
Yes.
What I liked about our performance in the first half, though, if you go back to last week at Shrewsbury, where we were really open and easy to play through and easy to play round, and we gave up too many cheap free kicks and soft possession, we were resolute. Didn't feel like we were really under the cosh any time in the first 45 minutes. It felt at times like Colchester had loads of the ball, but they didn't if you look at the stats. I think, in fact, we had just a little bit more of it in that first period. We had more corners as well, I think, overall. So, yeah, it was a really even game. Like I say, it was two sides that were desperate to get into the playoff places, and they did a lot right. But it's just the bits that they didn't quite get right seemed to be the most crucial parts of the game. But what we were doing really well was still defending our 18-yard box really well, covering each other, and making sure that threats were minimal to Jake Turner's goal.
And that's a foul. Didn't make the most of that.
So yeah, 0-0 at the break, fairly happy. Coming towards, around 800 or more Gills fans second half. We were making a lot of noise. It wasn't a big crowd at the JobServe Community Stadium. I'm not sure whether that's, it's close to Christmas or because it had been moved and people had already made plans for the Saturday. I don't know what Colchester's average attendance is, but it was under 5,000. And so we had around 20-25% of the entire crowd inside the stadium. So yeah, in terms of the score at the interval, I was fairly happy and thought, yeah, if we can just show a bit of quality second period, there's a chance that we can go and pinch all 3 points. I thought we were really bright at the start of the second half. We came out, we got on the front foot, we played the game in their half. We tried to pin them in to their defensive thirds and get, the good players on the ball that you want. Seb Palmer-Holden, Gareth McCleary, Bradley Dack in advanced areas. But for all our possession, it's the hosts who have the best chance in the opening period of the second half. And it's Mika and Bick header. Good ball in, I think, from Harry Anderson off the left-hand side, in swinging. And Bick gets up really well, glances a header towards that far corner. Jake Turner, I think, is rooted. But luckily, from our point of view, it drifts just wide of that far post.
That's a ping. Ball that one. Oh, well done. Go on.
What I liked about our play, though, was we was forcing them to defend their box a bit more, wasn't we? We was forcing them to head it clear. We was forcing Mate Macy to make decisions about whether to come and try and claim or to punch or stay on his line. And then if they did break on us, and we know about the pace they've got in forward areas, we've already mentioned it, Anderson and Bick, Lisby, Tavide's a big lump who I thought was really good first half. The ball was sticking to him more than it was probably sticking to Seb Palmer-Holden, and that was probably where we lacked a Sam Vokes or a Josh Andrews figure in the game. But yeah, we was covering each other. Defensively, we were solid, and we weren't allowing them to break on us at all, were we? And then there were two good chances for Bradley Dackworth, and unfortunately I missed them as well, and I'd have been gutted if the second one had gone in, especially, well, or the first one. Really good build-up play. We're patient. I think Sam Gale starts. He then steps inside. He plays a ball into the middle of the park. It then goes out to McCleary, who's on the inside left channel. He spots Dackie's run. First time in between the centre halves. Dackie tries to get it under his control, just slips, but manages to have a good touch and gets away a shot off balance. But unfortunately, being off balance meant that it lacked power, and Matt Macy was able to fall on it. And then shortly afterwards, he was released on the outside of the left-sided centre-back. Spots Macy off his line. Little dinked finish on the half volley. I think it's in if it dips inside the crossbar. I don't think Matt Macy's getting there. But like Jake Turner at the end of the move a little bit earlier in the piece, Colchester were relieved to see it land on top of the net rather than in it. We made our first change, and Seb Palmer-Holden, I don't think had a real chance. I think the closest he came was the deflection off of Bradley Dack's effort in the first half, but he'd run himself to a standstill again. Phenomenal work rate, decent link play at times. Just needed a little bit more finesse on occasions, but yeah, couldn't fault the work rate or the tenacity of the front man again. He was replaced by last week's saviour, Elliot Nevitt. But to be fair, it was Colchester who came on strong for a little spell again, didn't they? It's good defensive blocks by Dack, I think it is. Then Travis Akamir, who's having a really good game. Then Robbie McKenzie. Yeah, and here's some examples of us having to be alert in and around our 18-yard box.
Post. Travis again.
There was a slight moment of panic, I think, maybe amongst the Gills fan base. Certainly myself and Nick were a little bit concerned in making that block. Bradley Dack had gone down, holding his knee. And of course, with his history of problems to both knees, there was a little bit of concern. But thankfully, he jumped back up. He did go back on for a few minutes, but I think Gareth Ainsworth took the sensible option. So he was withdrawn shortly after, along with Travis Akamir, who was cramping up after getting through 75 minutes. And Aaron Rowe was replaced with a more defensive option in Max Clark. Johnny Williams came on in the 10 for Dacky, and Shadogi made his return to first team action. So there was no change to the shape, just a little shuffle across for Sam Gale to play as the right-sided centre-back for the final period. Yeah, game became end-to-end. I think maybe tiredness was having a factor. It was windy, so both teams has essentially spent one half running into a headwind. Armani's little cross gets blocked. Teddy Bishop drags one wide. We then load their box again, don't we? But yeah, to be fair to Cole U, marshalled really well by their captain, Jack Tucker. They defended very, very well.
Oh, send it!
Oh, well. Keep it in. Yeah, well done. Now deliver. Too close. Too close.
Get one! Get!
So yeah, that was that. After last week's thriller with 6 goals in a 3-3 draw, this week was a little bit more mundane in terms of goalmouth action, but it was a very, very good point on the road for the Gills against the Colchester side who've been flying of late. In terms of negatives and positives, I think the only negatives come from the fact that we were limited because of injuries. Yeah, like we've said, no Josh Andrews, no Sam Vokes, no Nelson Company, Lenny Sereno unavailable. You add them to the list of Glenn Morris and Ewan Williams and Connor Masterson. It's frustrating. Johnny Smith, another good player as well, which limited how we could play. I think Gareth and Dobbo and the coaching staff took the sensible option by playing the additional centre-back to counter their threats, but it meant with only 2 centre-forwards available on the afternoon, I'm not sure where Marcus Wiley was, you had to play with Gareth McCleary slightly out of position, which was frustrating given how good he was wide on the right against Shrewsbury last weekend. But yeah, that's the only little gripes, and they're out of circumstance rather than anything we've actually done wrong. But positives, back to being super solid defensively. I thought everyone was really, really good defending our box, protecting Jake Turner. And if it got through our defence, Jake Turner was coming and claiming crosses and punching crosses and being solid. A couple of kicks were a bit wayward second half, but I thought apart from that, Jake was really, really impressive again. Armani Little, really solid 90 minutes. Surprised he got through 90, having not played for 5 or 6 weeks. So it's great to have the captain back. Negated the threat, didn't we, of their very impressive front four. I think a couple of them were taken off. I know one was late on, but that's kudos to our back four and our defensive work that 2 of them have been subbed off. I've seen Colchester fans say that some of them probably had their worst performances of the season. Aaron Rowe, I thought, put in a real shift at left wing back. It's not a position he's played loads of. I know Gareth said in his post-match that he played there for Crewe a few times, but I think Aaron naturally likes to be higher up with a full-back behind him. But made that huge block first half, didn't he? Travis Ackermere, really, really good. Thought he started really nervously, tried to get touch tight and tried to pinch the ball when he didn't have to. It looked like he was a bit over-eager to make a good impression. Was probably lucky to not get booked. But yeah, just grew into the game and was really, really impressive, Travis Ackermere. So loads of positives. And yeah, moved back into 6th. Yeah, man of the match, I think, was always going to be a defensive player, whether he was picking a Gillingham player or a Colchester United player. And obviously I'm picking a Gillingham player because it's a Gillingham show and it's a Gillingham review. But, you know, honourable mentions to Bradley Dack, who I thought was very bright in a game of a few chances. He's had the effort that's nearly gone in first half. He blasted one into the home end. The lob that's hit the roof of the net was unlucky. The one where he slips at a crucial time was unfortunate as well. But it's great to see Dacky still getting into good positions and influencing games in an attacking sense. Great to have Armani Little back. Aaron Rowe was decent. Jake Turner was solid. But for me, it had to go to Travis Ackermere. I thought that was a really, really encouraging 78 minutes, I think, for the young man on loan from Watford. He's had to bide his time, hasn't he? He's played in a couple of trophy games and I think he's had a little cameo in the league. But yeah, that I thought was super good from a young man who only learned from the experience. He's come up against Samson Tavido as a unit. And yeah, like I said, over-eager to start with, but learned to calm down and then was very, very impressive. Played 78 minutes. He made 2 tackles, 5 clearances, 7 ball recoveries, won 80% of his ground duels, which means he wasn't afraid to put his foot in. He won 70% of his duels in the air as well, so he was willing to go toe-to-toe with everybody. 37 touches and an 83% pass completion rate. So yeah, really, really pleasing. So man of the match for me was Travis Ackermere. Yep, nearly full-time on this one, but I think that's a really good point on the road against an informed Colchester United side. I don't think there'll be loads of teams that go to the JobServe Community Stadium between now and the end of the season and pick up victory. So a clean sheet and a point is really, really encouraging. First one in a few for us. I think it's only our second in 10 league games. So the shutout is most welcome, as is another point. 4 draws on the spin, but 5 unbeaten since Gareth returned. We do know that his big unbeaten run when he first joined started with plenty of draws. So reasons to be cheerful, but we do have a busy period coming up, don't we? Christmas is nearly upon us. We host Barrow next weekend, then go to Fleetwood 5 days before the big day. Cambridge at home Boxing Day, Colchester on the 29th, and then a trip to our dear friend Swindon on New Year's Day. So plenty of football to look forward to. As always, thanks for watching on this one. If you're a Gillingham fan, a Colchester fan, or just someone who loves the EFL, then thank you for doing so. It really is appreciated. We are 9 away from 4,000 subscribers, so please Let's get to 65 likes on this one. So go down there and press like. If you've not done so, please click subscribe. Press the bell and you get a notification every time we upload content so you won't miss a show. Yes, there is a competition running on my X page. So if you click that subscribe button, as soon as we get to 4K and repost that post, someone will win that up there. That is the brand new EFL Panini 25-26 sticker album. Comes with 5 packets of stickers. I think there's a sheet in there as well. So yeah, that's just a little thank you from me for all the support throughout the season so far. There is no League 2 hour this Monday. Of course, it's just our game because it's FA Cup weekend, but we were both out. So no League 2 hour this Monday, but the 15th will hopefully be a bumper show of 90 minutes, looking back at all the midweek action, this game and next weekend's. Of course, we'll be back middle of the week with a Barrow fan previewing our home game next Saturday, and then myself and Ava, Boz, maybe Stocky, not sure, and everyone else will be inside the Priestfield for a home game next Saturday. But until then, as always, thanks for watching, and most importantly, up the Gills.